Mother, look! It is my nephew's work. I saw it this morning while cleaning. Nice, right? Even though it is just simple, it comes from the creative mind of my nephew. Just like any other creative artworks. Beautiful sculpture, landscapes, artworks, inventions, and a lot more. Truly creative, isn't it? But where does this creativity came from? Yes, it is from us man, of course. But how? How are we able to create such creative visual creations that just melts and give glitters to our eyes? Well, just continue watching this video and together let us learn about arts and creativity as well as the literacy in this creativity thing. Two things we will be talking in this video: visual creativity and hand-eye coordination. Visual creativity. It is an important part of creativity and is the ability to imagine integrations of familiar patterns and create novel and useful patterns. It is like you are creatively visualizing little patterns come up to a whole or useful thing or a pattern or an artwork, which is considered multifaceted and complex and plays a critical role in many fields such as art, paintings, and sculpture. Creativity is necessary to human survival, human prosperity, and civilization and well-being. But how this creativity works? Let us watch this video.
This little guy is a nematode worm. It's transparent, about 1 millimeter in length, and one of the simplest animals with a nervous system. And his name is Steve. Now, Steve does something quite curious. He doesn't just follow food scents. He also explores his environment, as if he wants to know what else is out there. This worm shows a basic form of curiosity, and Steve does this even though he only has 383 brain cells or neurons, compared to the 86 billion neurons in your human brain. Your brain is also curious. It's constantly looking for the next new thing. But unlike a worm, our desire for novelty has led us to innovate and create. Our high levels of creativity are thanks to the unique makeup of our restless brains. So what exactly makes your brain so creative? Well, this massive 86 billion neurons is organised in a pretty special way. Roughly speaking, one group of neurons sense the environment and another group react to it. In most animal brains, there's a hardwired path from the sensing neurons to the acting ones. In your human brain, though, there are lots of paths connecting the two, way more than what we need to perform vital tasks. So these surplus neurons form tangled networks that generate random, spontaneous thoughts. And researchers are starting to pinpoint how these thoughts become creative ideas. In a 2016 study, researchers found that creativity seems to depend on the cooperation of two competing brain networks, one that generates spontaneous thoughts and the executive control center of the brain that governs everything else. To produce new ideas, we start with a pool of random, free-flowing thoughts. Those worthy of further exploration are then approved by executive control. And then, when researchers asked people to plan an artwork, cooperation between these two networks went up, and the effect was even stronger in professional artists. Virtually all other research points to a similar conclusion, that no one area of your brain is responsible for creative thought. Rather, many interacting processes by large-scale brain networks work together to give birth to a great idea. And a new theory suggests these brain networks seem to be doing three things. They bend what we see, break what we expect, and finally, they blend things with other things. Your restless brain is full of great ideas, just waiting to be realized.
Executive control describes the processes that regulate mental resources. In contrast, spontaneous thinking is instead a mode of mental activity in which the association between the flow of thoughts emotions, images, sounds, and so on is less regulated. This mode of thinking appears necessary for the production of new ideas by exploring new associations and combinations of possibilities. By putting these two processes together, executive control allows for the selection and evaluation of ideas that are generated via spontaneous thinking to check if the new combinations can be executed or not, and at what costs, and whether they successfully solved a problem or expressed what was intended. According to this study, creativity is currently viewed as a highly complex function that requires several skills. It is thought to require both novelty, the process of generating something new, and usefulness, which indicates an evaluative process. This suggests that rather than there being a single creative module in the brain, distributed networks of brain regions may be necessary to generate original and useful ideas. More generally, although cognitive neuroscience research has often assumed that thinking could be explained by looking at activity in isolated brain regions, more recently, the perspective has shifted towards the view that cognitive functions should be studied as resulting from large-scale network interactions. Studying how our brain works is really complicated and complex. Studying these brain networks for visual creativity is very deep and requires deep understanding. For you to understand more about brain networks for visual creativity, please watch this video from Ted Penn. Here's some clips.
So every task that you perform, every thought that you think, everything that you do requires a different set of patterns, a different set of connections. And that's how your brain actually distinguishes between the different tasks that you have to perform.
Hand-eye coordination. Hand-eye coordination is the ability of the vision system to coordinate the information received through the eyes to control, guide, and direct the hands in the accomplishment of a given task, such as handwriting or catching a ball. Hand-eye coordination uses the eyes to direct attention and the hands to execute a task. Vision is the process of understanding what is seen by the eyes. It involves more than simple visual acuity. Vision also involves fixation and eye movement abilities, accommodation, convergence, binocularity, and the control of hand-eye coordination. Most hand movements require visual input to be carried out effectively. Between 4 and 14 months of age, infants explore their world and develop hand-eye coordination in conjunction with fine motor skills. Fine motor skills are involved in the control of small muscle movements, such as when an infant starts to use fingers with a purpose and in coordination with the eyes. Why is hand-eye coordination important? Sports. Hand-eye coordination can help your child to catch a ball and hit a ball with a bat and then graduate to more intense sporting demands. Handwriting. Visual motor integration, which is the vital base for handwriting, grows out of this coordination skill. The eyes need to guide the hand in forming the letters and making sure that they stay within the line. Reading. Eye-tracking skills, which are vital for reading, can be developed through games and activities used for hand-eye coordination. Play and life skills. Young children use this skill in learning to stack towers, build with Lego, and a lot more. We also need our eyes to guide our hands when we tie shoelaces and frost cakes. Now here are the hand-eye coordination development milestones. Birth to 3 years. Infants can accomplish the following skills. First, starts to develop vision that allows them to follow slowly moving objects with their eyes. Second, begin to develop basic hand-eye skills such as reaching, grasping objects, feeding, dressing. Third, begin to recognize concepts of place and direction, such as up, down, and in. And fourth, develop the ability to manipulate objects with fine motor skills. 3 to 5 years, children continue to develop the following skills. First, continue to develop hand-eye coordination skills and a preference for left or right-headedness. Second, continue to understand and use concepts of place and direction such as up, down, under, beside. Third, develop the ability to climb, balance, run, gallop, jump, push and pull, and take stairs one at a time. Fourth, develop hand-eye body coordination, eye teaming, and depth perception. 5 to 7 years, children at this stage continue to develop the following. First, improve fine motor skills such as handling writing tools and using scissors. Second, continue to develop climbing, balancing, running, galloping, and jumping abilities. Third, continue to improve hand-eye coordination and handedness preferences. Either they want to use their left hand or the right hand. In handwriting, probably. Second, learn to focus vision on school work for hours every day. However, there are also common problems in relation to hand-eye coordination. Hand-eye coordination problems are usually first noted as a lack of skill in drawing or writing. Drawing shows poor orientation on the page and the child is unable to stay within the lines. When using a coloring book, often the child continues to depend on his or her hand for inspection and exploration of toys or other objects. Vision impairment. A loss of vision that makes it hard or impossible to perform daily tasks without specialized adaptations. It may be caused by a loss of visual acuity in which the eye does not see objects as clearly as usual. It may also be caused by a loss of a visual field in which the eye cannot see as wide an area as usual without moving the eyes or turning the head. Vision impairment changes how a child understands and functions in the world. Impaired vision necessarily affects a child's hand-eye coordination as well as cognitive, emotional, neurological, and physical development by limiting the range of experiences. Another problem that affects hand-eye coordination is movement disorder, characterized by impaired body movements. An example is ataxia, characterized by a lack of coordination while performing voluntary movements. The problem may appear as clumsiness, inaccuracy. Movements are not smooth and may appear disjointed or jerky. Another example is hypertonia, a condition marked by an abnormal increase in muscle tension and a reduced ability of a muscle to stretch. And now to develop your child's hand-eye coordination, here are some activities to improve your child's hand-eye coordination. First is for younger kids. First, rolling a ball. Have your child sit with legs apart as shown and you roll the ball to your child. Your child needs to try and stop the ball before it hits the body. This means your child will be watching the ball carefully and when coordinating the hands to stop the ball at just the right time. Object relays. The kids stand in a line and pass the ball or any object to the child behind them. Do it overhead then between the legs. Encourage the kids to use both hands together. Make it more fun by having a bucket of objects at the front that have to be transferred to an empty bucket at the back. You can do this in fireman relay style while everyone keeps their place or have the last kid run to the front after placing the object in the bucket at the back. That the way, they all get a turn to be in front. Passing and gently tossing. Play a variety of circle or line games like the relays above, where balls or beanbags are carefully passed from one player to another. Then upgrade to gently tossing. Have the kids move one step away from each other and then gently toss the ball or beanbag to each other. So you can modify every game so that it'll be more fun. You have to make it a little bit complex for your child to be challenged. And now here are also activity to improve hand-eye coordination for older kids. First, ball-wall toss. Ask your child to toss the ball against a wall and catch it again. Simple, right? You will need to experiment a bit to find the most effective distance from the wall. It depends on the type of ball and how forcefully your child throws it. See how many your child can catch before missing and keep a running record of the best tally. Encourage your child to better the score each time. Another is toss and catch. Tossing a beanbag or ball into the air and catching again is a good hand-eye coordination exercise. If your child tends to throw haphazardly, have your child stand in a hoop or mark a circle to stand in. This can help kids throw more carefully. Third is threading and lacing. Threading beads and completing a lacing cord are fine motor activities that have a big eye-hand coordination component. Use chunky beads and laces if your child struggles, or have your child thread beads into a pipe cleaner or stick for extra stability. You can modify all those games as I've said earlier. Now, when to call a doctor? Parents of preschool children should be alert for signs of abnormal visual development or coordination problems. If a child is reluctant to engage in activities that require hand-eye coordination, does not like Legos or Tinker Toys, or has very irregular handwriting with excessive erasures, they should consider having the child evaluated by professionals. Now, talking about parental concerns. When a child is between 1 or 2 years old, parents should start encouraging activities that allow the child to learn how to use hands to manipulate objects and learn how to do different things fit together. Just work as a family, play as a family, enjoy as a family, learn as a family, be creative as a family. And that was visual creativity and hand-eye coordination. Studying and mastering those things makes us creativity literate. It is as much as important as drinking water. Why? It is because creativity by our thinking, visualization, and of course, working makes the world goes round beautifully. Let us be creative, everyone!